pleased to be here today to speak with you. I hope you've been enjoying the fair so far. We have many interesting and informative presentations in store for you over the next 4 days, and thank you to everybody who's put this on behalf of the students. This is so exciting. I was asked to speak a little bit about VCARA, which many of you know is the Virtual Center for Archives and Records Administration. And look forward to our 5th annual conference coming up in May of 2014. At the end, I'll explain how taking the virtual world's Tale of the Tutors course that you're doing right now, many of you, and/or presenting a poster session for the 5th annual VCARA conference can help you meet one of the most challenging, at least for me, core comps for SLIS students, K, designing instructional programs based on learning principles. Although VCARA bears little resemblance now, it was loosely modeled after Trajan's Forum in Rome, Italy, which combined both Roman and Greek architectural elements. Marcus Nerva Trajanus, commonly known as Trajan, was a Roman reigned from AD 98 until his death in AD 117. As the civilian administrator, Trajan is best known for his extensive public building program, which reshaped the city of Rome and left multiple enduring landmarks, such as Trajan's Forum, Trajan's Market, and Trajan's Column. The architect for this was a Greek, Apollodorus of Damascus. And as we think about how we're going to preserve or at least document the activities of your course, think about the ways in which people are struggling to preserve and document the antiquities that and mean so much to civilization. Now, this is VCARA. It's a little bit over, I think, to the left of where we are now. It has some resemblance to Trajan's Forum, or at least it did when we started in 2009. It was designed as a rectangle with Greek and Roman buildings, labeled as exhibit halls on the slide. In addition, it had a lecture hall that we called a Roman Senate. It was used for guest lectures, and a tavern around the back was used for parties. 2 faculty offices were built, one for Preceptor Amat, yours truly, and one for visiting professors. The event space was a spa-like structure, and there was even a latrine behind an orange grove. Today's VCARA space bears little resemblance to the original, having morphed over the years based on the types of activities to be conducted and the ideas that various student assistants brought with them. A villa now replaces the Roman Senate, and the tavern sits in place of the Greek hall. I missed that Greek hall. The Roman hall was replaced with a gazebo, and one of the 2 offices disappeared. My office is still there. Come visit anytime. The new larger structure provides space for exhibits of each of the annual conference poster presentations, complete with audio tracks. We now have displays from 2010, 11, 12, and 13, all on various levels. Space is being made now for the 2014 poster presentations. Because the space can be confusing without some type of guide to provide a tour, Mnemosyne Seminario, the VCARA guide, was born on November 29, 2009. Mnemosyne is also the avatar that has administrative privileges for this part of Sliss Island. If one of the student assistants wish to move a building or add something new or purchase objects, they enter Second Life with the name and password for Mnemosyne. Lindens are held in her name to pay bills for the Virtual Center for Archives and Records Administration. I heard the speaker this morning that they were in need of donations in order to keep going. We are so lucky that the Sliss School supports our ventures in Second Life. They have been doing this since 2007 and are committed to doing so as long as we find use for the space. Now, why did we pick Mnemosyne? It's because the name means memory. What better name for a space to be used by archivists, records managers, and librarians? As you can see, Mnemosyne was the Titan goddess of memory who discovered the uses of the power of reason, gave a designation to every object, and made available to mortals the power to remember. To the ancients, knowledge is inseparable from memory because they recalled all things. That was before we had all of our recording devices. Sliss Island actually holds 3 distinct areas at this time, one set aside for an IMLS grant on youth librarianship, the second used for your class, Virtual Tale of the Tutors, and the third for VCARA. VCARA was designed to enhance student educational experiences for those studying records, archives, information management, special collections. I didn't put up all of the uses there. These activities took place in VCARA and were the ones you see on the screen. At the top, Dr. Valerie Hill speaking about MOOCs and virtual worlds, I believe. And in the center, Jason Kaltenbacher speaking about the role of records managers in supporting electronic records accessibility. And down below, a presentation from a 2012 conference where Frederick Stokes Thompson from the University of South Australia spoke about undertaking real work via an unreal world. We set out to achieve 5 goals to enhance the educational experience of students. First, to provide a space for faculty and students to engage in information, exchange, to communicate, to collaborate, and I think just to have fun. Provide networking opportunities and meet invited guests. Provide space to showcase the accomplishments of students. Support continuing professional development. And promote the benefits and importance of what I call record keeping, from the creation of the record through permanent storage in an archive. Because the Roman Senate could not accommodate as many audience members for guest presentations that we often had or hoped to have, we built an open structure called the Amphitheater. In fact, Snow is in the audience, or was, and she had so much to do with the development of a lot of this space. Shown on this page are images from 2 presentations. The one at the top, I hope some of you joined in. It was A.J. Kelton talking about emerging instructional technology and design. And then the one at the bottom was Dr. Valerie Hill again when she taught us how to create Machinima. And also did a little bit of demonstration of her book in the back of the Amphitheater. Now, the presentation gallery mentioned earlier houses all of the presentations that I hope you will have a chance to visit. Touch the rock next to each presentation to hear the narrative. An additional floor will be added sometime soon for the May 2014 conference presentations. Tavern is just for fun, but you're always welcome to use it if you'd like. Stop in to relax and refresh. The Roman villa is new and has not yet been put to good use. So wander around and send me your suggestions. And again, if you have a group you would like to meet in Second Life and you need a space for a meeting or a book burning or whatever it may be, let me know and we'll be glad to reserve space for you. Now I'll talk a little bit about the challenges of using Second Life. Technology constraints are probably the biggest. Somebody said my voice sounds rough. I am grateful you're hearing my voice. There are times when that's not even possible. Sometimes we have problems resing structures. That happens when there's too much going on at one time. In addition, not everyone enjoys virtual worlds. And I'll tell you, on some of the tours I've taken with my glasses on, I could get a little bit seasick. Some say human contact is minimized. Well, I think we heard this morning that may be so. However, I think there's a little more contact than there would be in Blackboard or now what we're using, Collaborate, and I'm sure the same will be for Canvas unless we decide to use our cameras as we're speaking. All right, the benefits. The benefits generally remain and apply to almost all virtual worlds. There is some discussion about other worlds than Second Life. When the time is right and it's worth it to move to another world, I'm sure we'll all be able to do that if we'd like. However, for now, Second Life seems to be regaining a resurgence. People were really excited about it back in 2007, 2008. It was going to be the way to educate. However, we know that that excitement did not happen. People were just moving around trying to find out what to do, but I don't think really seriously thought about what the value was. And so participation went down. I think now we're slowly finding the value in virtual world. I think if constructed thoughtfully, virtual worlds like Second Life can provide a safe learning environment, especially if you come right to the island and don't wander around somewhere else. It is good for people who are shy. They seem to be able to communicate more easily in Second Life. And I love watching gestures. I know if you're upset with me if you turn your back. I could see movement as I'm speaking. So there's a little bit more of that body language, even if we are just using our avatars. The good thing about, I think, an immersive simulation like this tutor class is that it satisfies adult learning principles that I mentioned before. For example, self-directed learning, which you're doing as you investigate your own topics and your own characters. It builds a learning community, and it facilitates communication between learners. There are some individuals who find virtual worlds a safe environment in which to learn. They also find it allows them to actively participate in projects, learn from others, develop community ties with others who have similar learning styles and interests. Second Life can be used by faculty who adhere to discovery learning by Bruner, constructivism by Votsky and Piaget and Dewey, social development theory by Bandura, communities practice by Lave and Wenger. It is what I mentioned, working on your Comp K and tying in learning theory to lessons you develop. All of those learning theories can be considered when you're developing a lesson as you did at Machinima. Now, considering my belief that Second Life is still useful to reach some students, faculties, and other beyond SLIS, but knowing that Second Life is being looked at with skepticism, I scanned articles that might tell me how or why Second Life could be the right tool to use. And I came across this one. It's a WordPress blog. It's a post from April of 2013, and Lorelei, it's almost as if we read this when we were thinking about developing a course, although we started our work before. This student underscores the thinking behind this course that you're now in, if you are one of our 287 students. The student started her blog indicating, which I didn't show on the screen, that the experience in her course was less than satisfying. She provided recommendations to her instructor for improvement, and all of those recommendations seem to be incorporated in this tutor's course. She said she would use an eclectic perspective that involved different types of activities, including field trips, where students could construct their own ideas about Renaissance life. There's your constructivism theory of learning. And learn by observing others. So there's your social learning. She also thought she might apply cognitive learning theory by asking students to apply new mental models to existing ideas. The student also said she might create a virtual masquerade or other social event, have students engage in activities as members of that virtual society. These are all the things that Lori, your instructor, has provided for you. And I think we're so lucky to have her working on this course. So, what do the last few slides on challenges, benefits, social learning theories, and the recommendations of just one student have to do with SLIS students? As I mentioned, think about all of those things when designing an instructional program to be delivered in Second Life, if this is what you did for this fair. But beyond that, please preserve a copy of your work. This is where the preservation challenges come into play. How will you do that? Perhaps you can't preserve everything that you have here. We know this tutor village will go away, and it will be replaced by Florence in the spring. So instead, what you need to do is document your activities as well as you can and preserve that documentation for your e-portfolio if you have not yet completed that, and keep it for evidence that you have been able to design instructional programs based on learning principles and theories, just like the ones mentioned. If you're interested in becoming part of the VCARA team first, I will say, for our space where we need people to do orientations and take care of the VCARA blog and work with Lorelei and myself to get presenters for our colloquia which take place on that space. You'd like to do to help there with the more general activities and the conference, we need help desperately for spring. However, we are also having this exciting new course on Florence, or at least the Italian Renaissance, right, Lorelei? And we need help with that class as well. We have a few volunteers, but not enough. So, if you need credit and would like to work while earning credit for Library 294, which is the internship, Library 298, which is independent study, MARA 293, which is project that is only in the fall, MARA 294 internship in the spring. We would love to have you. You can send a note to me at my email address, and Laura Lyon will work that out. We are having fun together. We're enjoying these courses. We hope you're enjoying them. We know that your feedback at the end will make it better for everybody for next semester. And we already have ideas to make improvement.